So welcome back to the AM show this morning, and this time we're going to do the AM talk. We're going to be looking at the stories, the big stories this morning. Those are making headlines in our newspapers, and I have with me two wonderful gentlemen. Now I have Samuel Ayapai. He's the MP for Ayinsuano constituency. Good morning, sir. Ayapai. I've been saying Ayapai for a long time, and I can't believe I've become resistant to corrections. Ayapai, welcome to the show.
Thank you,
will be expected to be joined by Bright Demoji. He's also MP for Botiano, English, a man from constituency. He will join us shortly for the discussion on AM Talk this morning. My first topic I want to talk about, we're looking at public service workers who do not have social security insurance trust numbers on their pay slips. The SSNIT is saying that they will soon have their salaries withheld, and this is a warning issued by the Controller and Accountant General's Department as part of measures to rid government's payroll of goods names. With effect from April 2015, valid SSNIT numbers will be mandatory for workers on the mechanized payroll to access their salaries. Mr. I pay.
Yes.
Let me ask you, I think that the issue of ghost names has become a canker to the country now. It's like a challenge we've been facing for a long time, and we're trying to deal with it. Government, I think the NPP and NDC, both governments have had their share of this payroll thing, and every now and then we're told it's being dealt with, but we still find ourselves still at a place where we're not moving. As a country like Ghana, and even looking at some time back, we're taking a lead role in this peer review, African peer review mechanism. Should we be facing this kind of challenge at this time of our lives?
Let me first say good morning to your viewers, especially those in the Ayinsuano district, and I wish them all a happy new year. It's my wish that God will help us to have a fruitful year, that is 2015, and also wish that our economy this time around will be better than what we saw in 2014. But yeah, I'm very surprised Controller and Accountant General is coming out with this, saying that they are not going to pay workers who don't have a social security number on their payroll. This means that they were for all this while paying workers without social security numbers. That is in itself an offense, because the law states clearly that no one can employ more than 4 people without paying them the social security. Once you have a company that employs more than 4 people, you should. And even the new act is even demands that individuals can also go. So once even if it is less than 4 and the people wish to have their social security number, why not? But it becomes an offense, serious one, that sends Aguide and Co that we know to court. So what is government and then the Controller Accountant General is telling us? Are they saying that they still, as we speak, pay people without having social security number? They should come again, because I don't get a point. They should come and explain to us. I don't see why somebody working in the government sector should receive salary without social security. It means, what it means is that people will go to pension and they will still not benefit from the social security. And we must also understand the system. At the end of every month, government calculate the number of workers that on his payroll and pay their percentage to the SSNIT, the Social Security National Insurance Trust. The question is, if indeed some of the workers don't have social security number, so how can government pay, or how do government pay the SSNIT in the for all this long? So I don't get the point at all. They should come again. They should come and explain to us. I quite remember some time ago, National Health Insurance Authority came to Parliament. They wanted to register parliamentarians on new biometric card. Some of the parliamentary staffers were also there. In the queue, I was surprised to see one of the member of parliament gave his social security number, and they said the number is invalid. But the person has been in parliament for so many years, and deduction is being made on his salary in terms of social security, and they say his number is an invalid number. So if you have invalid number, what it means is that you don't have account at Social Security. So if they take the money, where do they take the money to? So I'm of the view that we should look at our data system again, especially the Social Security and National Insurance Trust. SSNIT must take a critical look at the data system. Likewise, the Control and Accountant General Department, they should take a critical look at their data system, because if you have 600,000 workers, we must know that at the end of the day, I should have 600 Social Security accounts of which I'll pay this money to. Social Security, SSNIT should be able to tell controller that, no, you say you have 600,000 workers, you don't bring 600,000 deductions to us. So what is going on? Because if indeed all the Social Security numbers are valid and this have an account, it will be difficult for any other person to put ghost name on the payroll, because if the name is ghost, definitely that person might have either hit 16 or may not even have valid Social Security number. So this canker that we are fighting, unless holistically we all come together to fight it, including the workers at SSNIT, the workers at Control and Accountant General, coming together and say that we don't want to have ghost name in the system, it will be very difficult for any other government to do it. But what I don't understand is that the government did headcount at the Controller and Accountant General Department, not the staff, but those who are on the government payroll, including teachers, nurses, and then out of the headcount, some names were removed at ghost name for close to 5 months now. Those who were actually not ghost, but maybe due to wrong tabulation of the head counts, their names have been removed from the payroll. As we speak, some teachers for 3-4 months have not been paid simply because their name has been removed. And the question is, it takes a day to remove a name. If the issue has been rectified, that yes, that person is not a ghost, it should not take more than a day to put the name back. So some of us, we don't get the whole thing. Then it raises a lot of questions. Somebody may ask, is it because government is not having money to pay all the workers? It's a strategy of thinking of taking some names out, wait 3 months, 4 months, you are not being paid. Then later on, they put those people and then take another names out just to reduce the wage bill. Is that a strategy? Government should come out and explain it better. Because if you have done a head count or some head count to find out that, oh, about 200 people are ghosts, you take their name off the payroll. Then later they came to complain, we are not ghosts. Then it means maybe something went wrong during the tabulation or the entry of the data into the system. So you ask them, some of the teachers that spoke on air have filled as many as 4 different forms to get their name back on the payroll, and all was not successful. So some of us are confused. What is going on? Government is not having enough money to pay workers, so let's use a strategy, because I don't get this.
So are you saying that indeed there are no ghost names?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that yes, for now we have ghost names, which we shouldn't.
Yeah.
After the head count with the social security system, exactly. I don't understand why we should have ghost name. Okay. But for now, the investigation shows that we have the ghost name. My point is that those names that were removed, who has come out that they are not ghosts. What is preventing the Control Accountant General to put their names back? You used 1 month to do the head count. You used a day to remove their names. And for 3, 4, 5 months now, you can't get their names back.
Okay.
And so which shouldn't take more than a day to, if the person has come with a form that I'm not a ghost name, the form has been endorsed by the district director of education. The head teacher has endorsed it, so that those they are not ghosts. The head principals or headmasters of those schools have signed that they are not ghosts. So after all this, and for 3 months, 4 months, their names are still not on the payroll. We don't get it. Okay. And then you come out and say that, hey, if you don't have social security, we are not going to pay you. It is whose responsibility to make sure that if before you have your pay slip, you must have a social security number, and not just a number, but a valid social security number on your pay slip. Yeah. If the person has no valid social security number, then he's a ghost. So we shouldn't have even got to this stage at all. Once you don't have a social security number, you shouldn't have been paid. So, and you've been paying them for all this long.
So the issue is even worse, because instead of tackling the ghost name, now some individuals who are not ghosts are even facing the
yes, they were affected during the removal of the ghost names. But some people were affected,
and those people have not been brought back.
Which is in every calculation or research is normal.
Yeah.
It's definitely some people, it may happen.
But what is not normal is the fact that they've not been gotten back in 5 months.
Some for 3-4 months have not received salary.
I think that's
simply because they have been in my constituency. When I went round this Christmas, some of the teachers approached me for 3 months, 4 months. They have not been paid. Reason being that when they were doing the head count they were there, they were counted.
Okay.
But maybe during the tabulation, entering of the data and all that, something went wrong and they got removed. Some have failed from, and the Control Accountant General Department gave out forms that those of you who have been affected and indeed you are not good should fill this form. They've done that. Get it endorsed by your head teacher, get the form endorsed by your district director to show that indeed you are not a ghost. They have done all this. Some have done it 3 times, 4 times.
Wow.
Still, they don't have their names on the payroll. And it is very disturbing. We have to be very careful. If a teacher is teaching in Dr. a remote community in my constituency, for 3 months you haven't paid him, simply because somebody have taught for 10 years, and now that you got to know that he's a ghost and you remove the name from the payroll, is something very bad. So they should also do this very carefully so that we will not face the same problem that we are facing. After all, the question is that why should we even paying them all this long without having a social security number or valid social security number? And the question that I still ask, and I want the Control Accountant General to come out to answer. So if some people are being paid and they don't have valid social security number, where do they send their deductions from their salaries?
Okay.
Because if you don't have valid, this is mean you don't have accounts. So where if they take the money, where do they take the money to?
We'll soon be joined by the MP for Botiano English, a man from Bright Demoji. Maybe he can help us get some answers because he's a member of government, or he's from the governing NDC, so maybe he can help us get some answers to that. But I go back to the bigger issue of ghost names on our public payrolls, and I ask myself the question, what really is going wrong, or how did we even get ourselves into this situation?
This is why I said what is happening is something that is a cartel, that if before government will be successful in fighting this, must break that cartel. You see, it has to do with workers at the Control Accountant General's Department. It's all to do with workers with Control Accountant General Department, all to do with personnel at banks, various banks. Okay. Because if the name is a ghost name, it means the ghost will have his name on the payroll. As a bank account will be opened by the ghost at the bank. Who go to the bank to cash that money? Yeah. You see, who holds that bank account? So if we have 100,000 ghost name, it means we are going to have 100,000 bank accounts. So who are those who go to those various accounts to cash the money? Or all these 100,000 ghost name, the money put together in a single account for somebody to cash it? Take it. You see, so it's a cartel. Unless you fight to break it, it will be difficult. And very strong cartel, because what I suspect is that people with big horns, if they are not involved, this thing cannot continue. It cannot. So we must get somebody at the Control Accountant General Department who will come out boldly and say that I want to fight this. A top official should come out and say I want to fight, and indeed he can fight it. The BNI, this is what the national security and the BNI should do. BNI can go to Controller, they can be part of the cartel, and then get themselves involved, and they will know those who go to the banks and cash their money. A serious investigation agency like BNI is in this country, like the National Security, and we are still facing this problem. But if you look at the police CID, and we are still facing this problem. If you look at the issue of what happened at the National Service Secretariat, where we realized that even people at the helm of affairs were part of the issue, shouldn't we begin to look at the people we put in charge? This is exactly. I don't want to point fingers to people, but if those at the higher level at controller are not part of this, how can that be successful? You can't. Because if the controller himself say that I want to stop this, why not? You can. Okay. Just get some people recruited. So let them get involved with those cartels, those that you suspect to be the cartels. And definitely you can identify those who go to the banks and cash their money. So has it gotten to a point where probably the Controller and Accountant General's Department should be overhauled? Should we do an overhauling? Don't forget that we have a system a democratic system where the president is an executive president. He appoints, he can fire. Today, if the president get up and say that, look, I want this person to be the controller, he can. He is the executive. That is why when we do all these things, we push the blame on the doorstep of the executive president. We are not in the ceremonial presidency system where the prime minister will be held responsible for some of these things. It is the president. He is responsible. If we are losing huge sums of money because of the ghost names, it's because the president is not performing.
And so, just like we saw, for instance, with the ECG, you know, replacing ECG boss and some other people, do you want such a thing to be done at the controller? Probably as a solution to our problem.
With we must also be very careful when we go to replace people and fire people. You must do proper investigation and know if the head is not. But for this one, clearly, the controller, if controller wants to stop it, he can stop. So if I'm the president and the controller have assigned you that I'm giving you 6 months, make sure that you cleared ghost name in the payroll. And you can't do it, I must bring a person who can do it. That's quite different from the ECG, where we are having problem with generation of power. Then you, with the generation distribution and then the retailer. You left, we have problem with generation, we have problem with distribution, you left generation, you left distribution and fired the retailer.
Let's not go into that because I think it will take us on another level. But you know, this whole ghost name thing has taken another dimension. It's even gone international. As I speak with you, I think the EU is withholding an amount of £135 million that was supposed to be support for Ghana. For
our budget, if you look at the budget that we prepare, I don't know much about 2015 budget, but I know 2013, 2014, we have about 40% donor support in our budget, which most of this money comes in form of a grant. Did you get my point? So if the grants that they bring to us in this country are taxpayers' money in the European countries, in the Americas and those things. They are taxpayers' money, just as we also pay taxes here. They gather them, they make prudent use of the money, and then surplus will be sent to us as grants. And so if I have to bring grant to you from a taxpayer's money, and then you don't manage your economy well, and then you have so many names that you can easily remove from the payroll, and you are not doing this, then they'll use that as a condition. So because unless you get this done, the
IMF is supposed to investigate Ghana so that if we are clean, then we can have that money. But if not, my worry is that this has an image effect also on the country.
You see, you're only talking about ghost name. That is not the only thing that they look at. They look at corruption in general.
Exactly.
Corruption. Let me give a very typical example. For instance, a money has been paid to.
But of course, if you're not corrupt, there won't be an existence of ghost name.
I'm saying it's not. That's why I use the word alone. It means the payrolls. The ghost name is also a corrupt practice. So I'm saying alone, not only that, but they look at other things also. For instance, if a court of competent jurisdiction, not any other court, but the Supreme Court of this country, government has paid money to A, and that if somebody, a good citizen of this country, send the case to Supreme Court, because no, you've paid the money illegally to this man, so go for the money. You haven't gone for the money. You are expecting EU to bring its taxpayers' money to support your budget? No, they won't do it. If it happened to be in the shoes of the European Union, you also not do it. You see, if you have names, ghost names, then you can easily look at it and get them removed. And you are not doing it. You want us to pay taxes. Look at what they are telling us. That for all this long, they are paying people without social security number. So the deductions that they make. But if you look at those people, if you go and take their pay slip now, you can see a portion. Deduction has been made in terms of SSNIT. So where did that money go to? Well, who did it send the money to? Because you don't have a valid account with SSNIT. That is why people go to pension and then they start moving up and down in SSNIT. SSNIT Act we see. If I challenge, last time I put a challenge to SSNIT that if they indeed are investing in making proper investment, they should let everybody who contribute to SSNIT stop by 3 months and see whether they can continue to pay the pensions. The pensioners, they can pay them. So it's a matter of raw Peter to people. If contribution from workers stops today, the next month they can't pay workers. You see, and that shouldn't be SSNIT. If workers stop work for 3 months, SSNIT should be able to pay pensioners. Because the money they take, the sense that they have to invest the money so that they will use the interest to pay.
Mr. Ipe, you know, during the NPP's era, we also faced the same problems with ghost names. What is it with ghost names? How do we deal with it? Because I've heard a lot of time members of the NPP accusing government of deal with ghost name, whereas in your time you also faced the same challenge. How did you deal with it? And so how can we deal with this challenge?
See, if you keep removing and you keep adding, you can never get them removed completely. We did. If you look at Kufuor's administration in 8 years, we try as much as we can. I support zero removal of ghost name in our payroll, but the level at which it is now, I don't think it is advisable for any economy to do that. Maybe
government is overwhelmed, or maybe it's not that easy as you suggest, or as you see it to be
not easy?
A day's job.
I've explained it to you that people without valid social security number should not be paid. And for all this while, SSNIT is telling our controller is telling her that they were paying people without social security number on their pay slip. And they are now warning us that if you don't come to validate your SSNIT number, you are not going to be paid. Why now? That is my question. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but why now? This thing is something that they can easily use to stop the ghost names. You see, with the addition of the ghost name is this: somebody will go to pension, right? Instead of his salary to stop, because there's a system, as soon as you hit 60, your salary should stop. Then the salary will not stop. The person will go to SSNIT, process his document, get his pension. Then he'll still have his name on the payroll and he will be paid. It means that person's money cannot go to SSNIT. So at the end of maybe every quarter, SSNIT should give Controller and Accountant General number of people that have received their pension. It should even be every month, so that Controller can also clean their the payroll with this pensioners. But what the attendance means that they've been paying people who are over 60 and have taken their pensions and go and have an invalid, because as soon as you take your pension, your SSNIT number at Controller and Accountant General will be declared invalid, because that account will be closed and SSNIT will open a new account for you where you receive your pension. And if we keep these people on it, and also I suspect there's been an artificial creation of names on the payroll, like we uncovered at the National Service Secretariat.
By who?
By the BNI. Is this what I'm saying? That
who are the ones who created the artificial names?
It may be the workers and the top officials over there, because without them you cannot enter. You can't just put somebody's name on the payroll. They have a code that if you are not a strong room staff, and if you're ordinary staff at Controller,
you cannot have access
to their system.
So how do we deal with it? Since we know that some people are creating these names, and they are not ordinary people,
I will not say
how do we deal with it?
I will not say I know. I'll say I suspect.
You suspect.
Because without them, you see, if we have 10 people in our strong room who go into the system and operate, and we're giving them code, it's the only those people with code that can enter the Controller system and operate it. And these people ought to be monitored. You see, so if we have got fresh names that we identify that Mr. A has been added, and we find out that Mr. A is a ghost, who had Mr. A name on the payroll? If we investigate it this way and we start to punish people, these things will reduce. It is whose responsibility to remove Mr. B's name after Mr. B has hit 60 and has taken his pension at SSNIT? Who is still paying Mr. B? Whose responsibility to remove Mr. B, who's the sister's name of the payroll? Why he hasn't done that? That person must be punished. And when we start punishing people like this, these things will go down. We don't wait until it comes to an alarming state, then we start to make the data go around to head counts. It is also expensive to do the head count across the country. We do the head count, removing the name, then other people also be affected in that manner. So I'm of the view that when we identify we have 100,000 ghost names, we must investigate why the 100,000. Whether people who hit 60 and still having their names in the other people who are dead and still having their name on the ghost list, and other people that have been recruited and added, then we investigate who did that. Because it's not a magic that a ghost can enter the payroll and start receiving salary. No. somebody ought to enter them. And we have people we've given a code, secret code. And they know use one code. You have your code, I have my code. You don't know my code, I don't know your code. So we enter the system. We have a number of people that can enter the system. So we can investigate and see who code A entered C, so code A must be punished.
The system, yeah. And so it is suspected that there has been some creation of names by top officials, probably at the Accountant General's Department. And whose job is it to check or monitor these people?
Let me end by saying that.
I would have loved to have the Member of Parliament from Botiano. Maybe he could also say something about this. I want answers. And maybe we could have a balanced talk. So we are still expecting him here.
If I'm a controller,
okay,
an accountant general, I'm the controller. I know we have 600,000 civil servants on my payroll. I have a code also that I can enter the system and know. I wake up one morning, I go to my office, and I have 601. It's possible because we keep on employing, we keep on adding the names. As a controller, I find out where from this one, who entered the one, where is that one working? Can we make contact with the DC Director of Education or Health Services
to confirm
whether indeed the 600,001 person is working there, and who of my staff added him? Okay. You see, when we start doing these checks, we can reduce this ghost named saga. We can reduce it.
So I'm hoping to be joined by Bright Domeji. He's MP for Botiano English Amanfo. We are still waiting for him. Maybe, and I'll go back to this topic and ask for his also submission on this so we can have a balanced chat.